Well, good morning. I'm here with the amazing Dr. Abby, and we're going to talk the Centershot Blue Matrix 101. We're going to unpack it a little bit and just walk through this together. So, um, talking about the Matrix, it just really kind of over the years has formed into this language that, when we step into that world, whether it's first responders or veterans, being suspicious is a lot of what keeps you alive, right? So to have some place where you have a language that you can use to care for each other, that's really what this matrix has come about. So it's been like 15 years of walking through this and just on the job, learning how do we care for each other in a safe place. So that matrix kind of came about through just years of um, conversations and really seeing what is helpful. How do we walk through this? So if you think of mind, heart, soul, that's how we're put together, and that's what we're going to address. We want to see the renewing of our mind, the restoring of our heart, and the redeeming of our soul. And this is not like a real faith-based necessarily. It's not like a real religious or churchy thing at all. What really it is when you deal with evil long enough, it affects your soul. So you have to have some proactive ways to be growing and be healthy with that. So that's where this came from. So getting started, the language is really BLUE, and then it's mind, heart, soul. So the matrix kind of works on, okay, we're going to work through this discussion. So there's 12, 4 letters and 3 words. That's 12 discussions. So that could be 12 weeks of discussion. It could be 12 podcasts. It could be 12 minutes of discussion. But really, it's a practicing a language.
And really what you've identified is themes.
Yes.
These are themes that have come out of your, years and years of conversations with individuals about whatever it is that they're going through or living through, and put that down. And I think when you and I were talking about the Matrix, I was like, but which direction does it go?
Right.
And you did a really great job of identifying that sometimes there isn't a direction. It's you start in a place and then it leads you throughout the matrix.
That's a great point. It's, when I grew up, I was fortunate to grow up with a lot of fishing and hunting. And part of that is I see patterns. That's what fishing and hunting teaches you when you grow up. When you're in nature, you see patterns. Well, fast forward that, I wasn't just a little, I fished once in a while, or I just didn't hunt once in a while. It's been like my entire life. That's all I've done, right? So that's kind of my lens. So I see patterns, and that's where this matrix kind of came from. It's just human nature, patterns. What are the things when we deal with stress, when we deal with brokenness, when we deal with anger and frustration? What are the patterns that we start to find ourselves in? So the matrix is just a way to walk through that and process out loud with somebody that you trust. So let's jump in.
Perfect.
Okay, so B, in your mind, what are the barriers that are keeping you awake at night? What are you dealing with? Is it, our stress comes from home, it comes from work, it could be on the job, out in the community, it could be just dealing with, internal things that go on at your agency. There's a lot of stress that comes from that. So what we're trying to identify is what are the barriers right now that's just like circling through your mind. Sometimes we've just gone through elections and the political, sometimes barriers are political, just in your mind, where you're being sucked into one direction or the other. There's a lot going on there too. Social media, you might have a friend that, says something that really sets you off or hurts you, and then you're going back and forth. It's just, there's a lot of toxic things that we have to deal with and process through. And if we don't
Yeah.
have a safe place to process through that, it starts swimming in our mind, right? So what are the barriers? And then the L are, what are the lies that could be
Mm.
present, right? So
Yeah.
do we have all the facts?
Which is a perfect question to ask, which we
Right?
probably don't ask ourselves enough.
Yeah.
Because we're when we have those barriers, those automatic thoughts, those ruminating thoughts, there was probably a lot of emotion behind it. So we're not looking at the rational.
Mm.
We're fueled by our maybe self-righteousness or other
Just our
emotion.
own lens that we've kind of, our coping mechanisms, whatever we've kind of put together as, oh, I see what's happening here. I start writing a story, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems true to us,
For
but
sure.
we don't have all the facts. So we start to tell ourselves this lie, and we start to, oh, I get a bits and pieces, and then the lie grows, and now we're consumed with something that may not even be real,
Yeah. Our own perception is our own reality.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So then imagine you're in that, you got something swirling around, and it's just this barrier you can't get off your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You start writing this story, and it's growing into this, huge issue, but you don't have all the facts. And then all of a sudden, an unexpected crisis happens, an unexpected tragic event that you're involved in. So if you're already dealing with this high level of stress, and then you go through, maybe you're have a close call, and there's just this high level of fear that is now associated with
Mm-hmm.
this unexpected event. Well, now your body is, it's not even able to, I mean, it's just overload
Right.
of fear, of emotion, of
The nervous system is firing so hot.
yes.
So hot.
So then it gets really heavy, and we look for an escape. So we have barriers, lies, unexpected, and escape. So
Mm-hmm.
those in our mind, when we go through, those are the patterns that I just could start to see happening for myself. And as I was walking with people that going through things, it would be, oh man, I know they're dealing with a lot at home, and now this happened at work. Oh my goodness. And then it's no wonder. Where are you? Oh, you know, I'm looking for an escape.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those escapes are really even far more detrimental,
For sure.
because it's so heavy a weight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there can be positive escapes too. We talk about, are you getting enough sleep? Are you working out? Are you shooting your bow? That's my escape, right? I go and we get to shoot our bow. And I think about just getting outside, walking through the woods, shooting your bow at foam targets with people that you enjoy. I mean, that's just, I already feel like that's good. I can let go of the things I
Mm-hmm.
need to let go of. So that's the first four kind of conversations that I usually start with.
Okay.
And I think as teams start to learn this language, if they're proactively having conversations about these things, when they see someone on their team went through a huge unexpected on the job or at home, or something happened, they automatically know where each other's at. And
Mm-hmm.
now they can step in because they've proactively built trust.
Which is huge.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
trust part is probably the biggest piece of all of this because none of this is going to work if there's not that trust and relationship at the
yeah.
foundation.
So you think about how much proactive training are first responders involved in.
Oh, right. Tons. That's
It's like
everything.
that's how they are able to make split decisions in a really, tough environment, because they've practiced over and over. So it's like they have muscle memory for what needs to happen in that moment of tragedy.
Absolutely.
That's who gets called, those that have been preparing for it. But if we don't have that happening for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
at the cost and expense of serving everyone else, we're actually coming apart. And therein lies the problem. That can only last for so long, right?
Right. Well, it's like on the airplane, right? You have to put your oxygen mask on before you should put it on other people, because if you have nothing to give,
It starts to really show in your job,
yeah.
and unfortunately, it starts to really show at home with the people you care about the most. They
Mm-hmm.
actually are the ones who get less of you,
Correct.
right?
I see that so much.
So you think about now you have additional kind of distance that's growing at home, and they're now a whole new set of problems, a whole
Mm-hmm.
new set of stress, a whole new set of pain.
Yeah.
So it's like a cycle that we get into. Um, and then it just begins to spiral. Now, if you don't have anybody to process with and you know, work through those things, if it's not safe and it's not a trusting place, um, you're left to your own thoughts, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
happens then? I mean, if we're left to our own thoughts,
Well, going back to your idea, the story that is created, the lies that we're telling ourselves,
we
and
write
then
that.
that escape,
Yeah,
and how detrimental, like how far is that escape going to bring
right,
you down the hole?
right. So it almost just becomes this snowball that begins to grow over time. So you may have this little story that you start to write, but little by little it begins to grow, and then your escape has to grow,
Mm,
right? And then pretty soon the snowball is so big, you're out of control. And it's just this downward, spiral that is just completely out of control. So, what we want to do before we get to that is kind of create a proactive way so that we can break apart that snowball and can't
mm,
say, wait a minute, that's not really true. I've got to go address that with somebody. Or when I'm speaking something about a story I'm writing, but I trust you and you say, I don't know if you're looking at that the right way. Like if I came
yeah.
to you and said, I just think they're all totally against me,
Hmm.
you would probably ask me some questions about, well, how do you know that? Or, you know, are you sure about that?
Even not being, a professional in the field, I would think most friends would say, "Oh, what tells you that? What happened?"
Mm,
Right? And that's where you're essentially getting that same piece of,
yeah,
what is shaping this story for you, and then coming back of, I can see where it probably feels that way.
yeah.
However,
It may not have all the facts. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I just felt like that right in that moment. I could hear if I was dealing with something, and you, as a trusted friend, would say, "Boy, I could see how you could kind of make those connections." I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but I could see kind of that.
Hmm.
Well, that automatically just made me think like, well, maybe I am making this into more than it is. It just helps me kind of regulate. Am I taking this too far? Without somebody to process with, we don't often know where that. Are we making things into more than they really are?
Hmm.
Did I take a miscommunication and then write it as an absolute fact in my story?
Right. And we all do that
Right?
because we're going through stuff. So our level of just understanding,
Mm,
tolerance, reception varies day
yeah.
by day. Even just thinking about a single day after you've worked an entire shift, or you've had less sleep, you didn't get your lunch break, you're finally getting home, your tolerance level is probably lower. So the likelihood of taking something either out of context or
Oh yeah.
wrong, and then it starts a fight because the other person didn't mean it that way, but you
Yeah.
took it that way. Um, and that's where it just, your point of it coming back from that place of foundation of trust and
Mm,
respect. And I think sometimes even at home, we try to shield our home from what we're going through, and we put this wedge in
yeah.
between us and them, which actually does not serve this mutual trust relationship
Yeah.
anymore. And instead, we're more likely to take everything that they say out of context because we're forgetting that they're coming from an ultimate place of care and concern.
Okay, this is a great segue to go into the heart because
Mm-hmm.
you talk about the mind and how all these thoughts are circling around, and then we have this where we're taking things out of context. But then the people that love us the most,
Mm-hmm.
that just love us for who we
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to shield them because we don't know how to interact with them. But then you think about, as we unpack the heart, the B would be brokenness. The
Mm-hmm.
L would be, where is your heart leading you? The U is understanding. And then the E is expectation. So in your heart, there's patterns of brokenness, and we've learned how to cope with that brokenness. Whether, think about going back to the first time you really experienced brokenness as a child. I think of a time when I was 8, and it was kind of the real first tragedy that I was close to. Um, we were in a situation where the neighbor um, was involved in an accident with a horse,
Mm-hmm.
and there were, I visually remember the neighbor being, you know, dragged by the horse, and you're so afraid as an 8-year-old. And this is, there's a lot of accidents with animals when you live on a ranch, right?
For sure.
But the adults went to help and then asked me to go call 911. This is before cell phone days. This is before.
Sure.
And they're like, take the truck and go call 911. Well, I'm 8. Now you know, I drive the truck between the hay bales, and I drive,
Sure.
well, if it's a truck that is,
Could you even reach the pedals at
yeah,
that point?
yeah. I was like, okay, but it was this old truck that was a stick shift,
Oh
and
man.
I'm like just stalling it out, and I could not get that truck going. If it was an automatic, I would have been golden. But back
Right.
then, there was just, I couldn't. So I just finally got out and just started running, and
Yeah.
I ran a long ways to get to make this call. Well, by that time, there was already other people who had. So I felt like I had failed in that. I
Oh.
had one job, right? So that really started to kind of give me this lens of, if there's an opportunity to help, I feel like I have to help. And that's like been a descriptor of my whole life, right?
Mm.
You know me well. I know you see.
Mm-hmm.
So every time
It's
there's
all
a,
connecting now.
it
Thanks
all
for
makes sense,
sharing.
right? So you see the power in
Mm-hmm.
going back to when you first experienced brokenness. And now when I look at, okay, if that's how I'm viewing, and then my help wasn't good enough.
Mm.
So that's my brokenness. The L is, where's my heart leading me? Um, well, is it leading me to just say I'm never going to help anybody again? Or is it leading me to help everybody? Well, you know my schedule. You know the answer to that, right?
So the answer is everyone.
Everyone, right? So, and anybody who knows me probably is like, oh, no wonder you're so helpful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But guess who always gets less of me because of
Home.
our home? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when my wife watches this, she'll be like, oh my goodness, I never realized you actually know about this. So
Oh
identifying
no.
is one
Oh
thing.
no. Now it's going to get you in more trouble
I
because
know
you
it's
knew
like,
better.
it's this, no, I know about it, but now how do we go about saying no? I
Mm.
can't help in that, and be okay with it. Because you can see how hard that would be if you feel like I was asked to help but I couldn't, and I didn't do it right.
Well, essentially, your worth, your
Yeah,
sense of worth is tied to your helpfulness.
right. So for me to feel worthy and to feel valued, I have to be helping.
Hmm.
But really, that's not where our worthiness comes from.
Correct.
So I created a way for me to be in control.
Hmm.
If I help enough people, I'm valuable.
Hmm.
So now that's become my whole life, right? So now it's really a game of saying, okay, I need to be able to do some things for my family
Hmm.
and for me that are outside of just being helpful for everyone. As much as I want to, it's just not even realistic,
Right.
right? Right. So that's where my heart led me. Now let's talk about, am I living with the people around me in an understanding way?
Mm.
So that's my family. That's my spouse. And do I go and I say, listen, I had a really tough day at work. Let's jump back off my life and let's jump into someone who had just a really violent day at work that they're trying to shield their family from.
Hmm.
And they don't even want them to know the details. They don't even
Hmm.
want them to know what danger they were in. But if they come in and not even say, hey, listen, I just need you to understand today was a really rough day. So I'm going to be taking, I got to go work out. Or I got to go do something to unload this. But then I just need to be loved on,
Hmm.
and know that that's okay. Or, hey, I want to help, but right now I'm just trying to unpackage this day that was horrific. So that's living with the people around you in an understanding way. Do they even know what you're going through? Because they can't just
Read your mind.
read your mind out of the thin air and say, oh, they just get the sense that, oh, he doesn't want to be talked to. We've been at home looking forward to him coming home all day,
Yeah.
but now he's distant and doesn't want anything to do with us. But that's really not it at all. He or she may need to really be loved and cared on, but they just need to communicate a little bit and say, are you living with those around you in an understanding way?
Well, I think that part is so huge because our first responders and our military personnel, they experience so much
Hmm.
throughout the day that they do want to shield their family from. And part of it too is that was work.
Yeah,
I don't want to come home and talk about work
right.
and have it continue to take up space. But instead of coming home and saying, today was heavy,
Yeah,
today was hard, today sucked,
yeah,
whatever that is, they say nothing.
right.
And I know in my house, my husband and I had to kind of realize that we both sometimes are coming home in a mood and we were taking it personally because we couldn't read each other's mind. I wasn't walking side by side with him all
Right.
day to know what the emotion is coming from. So we started this, is it me or the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
It's a great question.
it's very
Yeah.
easy to get stuck in the like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, did I forget something?
What have
Did
I
I?
done to deserve this? Right. Yeah.
Right. When actually it was nothing. And in your explanation, you kind of almost blended understanding and expectation because there's the understanding of just voicing it.
Yeah.
Today was hard. Today is heavy. I'm in a mood. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 2.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want to pull in. But then there's that expectation piece of being clear of, I need to work out and reset.
Yeah.
I need to just be surrounded in love. That's that setting the expectation piece.
Well, and I think if we're not going into it with a good plan, we expect one, read my mind,
Oh, yeah.
and then two, meet my expectations that I haven't told you that are unrealistic, but I just need, you know, what actually happens is our expectations turn into, I need an escape and I really just need you to, you know, help this escape. That expectation is just totally unrealistic.
Correct.
And now the people that you love are starting to resent because you're using them
Mm-hmm.
instead of living with them in an understanding way. And I think that's where, okay, this language, as we practice it and proactively think about, okay, let's just role play and go through a situation. This is the barrier that I'm dealing with. These are kind of some of the lies I'm going through. This is an unexpected thing that came up, and it made me think about, escaping this way. And now, because I have this brokenness, heart is leading me to this. Well, now it starts to unpack why we do what we do and why we
Mm-hmm.
respond, and then why the people we love that we care about the most, care about us the most, start to get a wedge driven,
Oh yeah.
right? And now resentment sets in, and now we have more stress at work and more stress at home
Mm-hmm.
because we're not proactively growing and learning, and developing tools to deal with it.
And now we're going to be looking for an escape from work and from
So
home.
the escape part grows even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the snowball grows,
Right.
and it just gets bigger and bigger. And so these tools and this language, when you're dealing with people who are right in your close circle, who
Mm-hmm.
know they're going through the same thing, and you guys, it's like, okay, as a team, let's proactively help each other. And that's what the matrix is for. So you have the mind, heart, soul, and you have BLUE. And in that language, as it starts to repetition and go through um, that proactive workout, and it can start with, hypotheticals at first,
Right.
but usually everybody starts to feel really comfortable and say, well, I got a real one that I'm dealing with. Here's a real barrier I'm dealing with. Can we process through that? Because they're
Mm-hmm.
they're tired of being in the downward spiral.
Oh, for sure.
So then
It's
it comes out,
exhausting.
right? It is. It's exhausting. So that's mind and heart. And I think I need a break, maybe
Sure.
get some refill of coffee, and we'll go into the soul after this.
Yeah.